The other presupposition is diminishing returns, cycle after cycle. I don't want to say anything's for certain, but like when 1 sat equals 1 cent, which would be $1 million Bitcoin, will open up the window to when sat dollar parity, especially when you're questioning how much a dollar will buy you next year, next week, tomorrow. When we get to that stage, the dollar as a unit of measure becomes useless. But it's also going to be a combination of a complete loss of faith in fiat currencies around the globe, including the dollar.
Today, we have a conversation with Ben Perrin, better known as BTC Sessions, a leading educator in the Bitcoin space. Ben shares his story about what it's like to live on a Bitcoin standard. For him, Bitcoin is not just a hedge against inflation, but a lifeline in our broken monetary system, where everyday people are beginning to question the worth of the dollar. In this episode, we uncover the deeper truths behind living on Bitcoin, why saving in dollars is actually absurd, and how Bitcoin could lead us to a world where quality and longevity are what's valued. He talks about the impact this has had on his day-to-day life, whether it's dealing with price volatility, navigating merchants who accept Bitcoin, or simply budgeting with the mindset of living off a long-term deflationary asset. For Ben, Bitcoin has become a guiding principle for how he plans his future, far beyond a mere form of digital currency. Living on a Bitcoin standard requires a shift in perspective. It's about participating in an incorruptible system and having confidence in Bitcoin's long-term value. This approach isn't just about financial gain. It's about self-sovereignty, independence, and aligning with a global movement that's working to build a fairer, more prosperous future for all. But before we do that, I want to introduce our sponsors, Stampseed, the Orange Pill app, and Swan. Our partners are businesses and people that we respect and our products that we at Bit Intelligence personally use. You're watching 21 Voices.
I think I'm bullish because more everyday people are seeing the cracks in the existing system, and they're realizing that something is amiss, and Bitcoin is kind of primed to be that escape valve. It takes time, it takes learning, it takes a lot of understanding, but people know that things are broken. You're seeing it with people filming TikToks in their car. Why in the hell can't I make a living? I'm a nurse and I can't afford rent, I can't afford groceries, I'm living out of my car. You see these heartbreaking stories. At the same time, we're seeing terms that haven't been thrown around in the everyday vernacular until recently. People understanding inflation and seeing that as a problem, but also the term fiat. That's something that hasn't been thrown around in regular circles until very recently, and now I'd say it's commonly used now. So being in Bitcoin, you want people to get it now, and I recognize that's not how it works. It takes some time, so we'll see, but the trajectory is there. Number go up simply protects from number go down, and number go down is your purchasing power all the time. And again, previous all-time high in US dollars was in and around 69K. Canadian dollar all-time high price was in and around 84,000 Canadian, I think was the highest I saw it. I saw a stat the other day where if you factor in inflation, stated like actually reported inflation, for purchasing power, US dollar all-time high to be the same purchasing power as what Bitcoin was then would be 79K. And for Canadian dollars, it would be 106. It's amazing to think because you always put in the context of previous Bitcoin all-time high, not realizing how insidious the system that we're in is. And really all we have to measure things with is dollars and Bitcoin. And the dollar measuring stick is completely broken, and Bitcoin's in the midst of being monetized. And so like there's no easy middle ground to find and figure out exactly what the hell is going on, other than one thing is going down and one thing is going up, and you just gotta grab on. Honestly, I think it's a pretty simple formula. Number one, provide value to others. Number two, spend less than you earn. And number three, save in Bitcoin. If you can do those things, if you can manage to make that work, it really doesn't matter. In that fiat mindset, they haven't realized that they don't want the additional dollars. What they actually want is the Bitcoin. They want the thing that will preserve the fruits of their labor and allow it to grow. Why on earth would anybody ever think of offloading their Bitcoin for something like the dollar? In my opinion, there's no purpose to doing that. I've been on a Bitcoin standard for years now. It could 10x right this second. I would not be purchasing dollars right now. Yeah, I don't want US dollars. What I look at is what would I want to purchase, perhaps, that could meaningfully improve my life over the... So like, if I wanted to live somewhere else in the world, if I saw something where maybe I had a home somewhere that my kids could enjoy and live in, and you got to live your life. But to be sitting in dollars, I have no reason to do that. So the way I look at my Bitcoin and my savings is that, again, I'm spending less than I earn. I'm putting it away in Bitcoin. And then when the time comes that something that will be good for myself and my family can be purchased, then yeah, I'll make those purchases. But I'm living on Bitcoin and I'm saving for important things for me and my family. So dollars are out the window. Like, it's nowhere in that equation does the dollar come into play. It's I'm saving Bitcoin and making purchases that matter to me.
Please bear with us for a quick message from our sponsors. These videos take a lot of time to make, and we've partnered with brands we trust like Stampseed and the Orange Pill app in order to get the funding we need to bring you these videos every week. Don't store your Bitcoin in cold storage without stamping your seed phrase on an indestructible titanium plate. Stampseed is fireproof, rust-proof, impact-proof, and easy to hide. It has no loose parts and will give you ultimate peace of mind that your Bitcoin is safe and sound for the long term. Click the link in the description below for 15% off your stamping kit. When I finally got Bitcoin, it hit me like a lightning bolt. It was the currency of the future, the only money that truly mattered. But there was a problem. I didn't know anyone else that thought like me. That is until I discovered the Orange Pill app. Suddenly, I was connected with a network of like-minded Bitcoin enthusiasts, right in my own city. The Orange Pill app is more than just a social network. It's a community of passionate individuals determined to change the world, one Satoshi at a time. This series is brought to you by Swan and created by Bit Intelligence. Remember to like this video and subscribe to both our channels for more videos like this every week. Thanks for watching.
The other presupposition is diminishing returns, cycle after cycle. I don't want to say anything's for certain, but like, if this is where we are now, I don't know what to expect a year and a half out from having, with this much being gobbled up, with an impending reduction in incoming supply. It's one thing to quote unquote know what's going to happen. It's an entirely different thing to see it happening. Those are very different things, because I know what Bitcoin is in terms of what it represents versus the existing system. But to see parts of the world waking up to that, on both ends of the spectrum, people that are most disenfranchised in society and the people that are the most well-off, that have the most capital to protect in society, those kind of ends of the spectrum beginning to hone in on and understand that Bitcoin can serve them in different ways. Seeing that happen in real time is really something else. And it's craziest because it happens in spurts. It's not like this smooth movement. Oh, okay, yeah, people are gradually understanding and more and more and more and more. It's like, it seems like nobody's getting it, and then all of a sudden, everybody's giving you a call. We're in the beginning of the phone call phase, I think, right now. the people most inclined to use Bitcoin is entirely a function of who is the most disenfranchised by the ruling government and who is the most likely to experience censorship, not just of speech, but of the financial sort. And so you can see that all over the globe, and it's really dependent. I truly believe that if Bitcoin had come to fruition during the civil rights movement, what would have been used there for fundraising? I definitely think that's one of the avenues that would have been explored. Unibias is a difficult one. Switching to sats is going to do us a huge favor when 1 sat equals 1 cent, which would be $1 million Bitcoin. We'll open up the window to when sat dollar parity, especially when you're questioning how much a dollar will buy you next year, next week, tomorrow. When we get to that stage, all of those measurements, the dollar as a unit of measure becomes useless. And so, yeah, I think that's an eventuality. I think we're heading towards that. And it's going to be a combination of Bitcoin appreciating in purchasing power because so many people put their faith in it in order to preserve their purchasing power well into the future. But it's also going to be a combination of a complete loss of faith in fiat currencies around the globe, including the dollar. When I'm spending dollars, not that I do anymore, but when I was spending dollars and earning dollars, your dollars, they're just not worth anything. You kind of spend them freely. And those that earn enough dollars maybe put them into something like a home or some type of investment where they would sit over time and they would hope to get more dollars. But dollars were fleeting and you always wanted to get rid of them. That's what we've been conditioned to do. Bitcoin is entirely different. And so what does that do to an individual who only lives on Bitcoin? You recognize that your money, even like way down the road, let's say Bitcoin fully monetizes, everybody's using Bitcoin, it's worth, you won't even be able to measure it in dollars because dollars are toilet paper at that point. But you get to a point where it's proliferated the globe and now you have like a nice steady deflationary currency that gradually ekes up in purchasing power as human innovations allow things to be built with less effort. And so your purchasing power just goes up. Well, there'll hopefully be population growth as well so that we can build more stuff and visit the stars and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you have an individual that understands they have money. It's precious. It does hold its purchasing power. I can just save it and put it away and I can keep it for retirement or whatever I decide to do with it. But you also have your day-to-day needs. You're going to want groceries. You're going to want a home. You're going to want probably a vehicle to get around. You're going to want a number of things. And there's going to be companies that want to provide services and products to you. But they're now faced with a consumer that is going to be a lot more conscientious about how they allocate their money. Should I get this? Should I save? That puts the onus on the producer to create much higher quality products to convince one to part with their sats in order to purchase that thing. And I think it gets us completely away from the age of trinkety crap that you throw away the moment you get it and just replace with a new one. We have such a consumerist society. Everything is throwaway fashion. You buy a TV, it's crap in a couple of years, you toss it out. Our phones are obsolete or purposely obsoleted by companies like when the new one comes out. Everything is disposable. Nobody fixes anything. I think that entirely changes. People look for things and they might spend more money on the thing than they would have with the disposable one, but then they'll keep it in their family for years. I've noticed it in my purchases. In my home, when I did my basement, what did I do? I went to a local friend who's amazing, and our basement is beautiful in our home. I spent sats on it. It was expensive, but I'm not moving anytime soon. And I love the hell out of our home, and my kids get to grow up there, and that's very important to me. I also got him to build us a kitchen table. It was like a solid marble slab on the top of it. The base is built out of oak. that he stained, that thing weighs 400 pounds. It's going to be in that house until it burns to the ground. It's a proof of work table, and I think we're going to get more proof of work things that hold their value, get passed down, and if they break, we fix them because they mean something. And that's what I think some of the societal implications will be in and around Bitcoin as our standard.
Ben's journey illustrates that embracing Bitcoin is not merely a financial decision. It's a radical act of empowerment and independence. It's a vote for freedom that if you choose to embrace, no one can take away from you. Only time will tell how long this transformation will take, but one thing is clear. Those that live on a Bitcoin standard are influenced by an incorruptible system that incentivizes quality and long-term sustainability over exploitation and short-term profit. As everyday people begin to question the dollar's worth, we are seeing more and more people wake up to the insidious reality of the system we live in and its drag on human progress. If you choose it, Bitcoin will set you free. Stay tuned and remember to subscribe for the latest recaps, insights, and films about all things Bitcoin. This is 21 Voices. If you want to watch another episode, try this one here.